Hello there, I'm your regular host, Eunice Johnson, saluting you for staying tuned to yet another episode of Telecom Today. The program is an initiative of the Telecom Regulator to, amongst other things, inform and educate you on the latest in the sector that has touched every aspect of the Nigerian economy. As usual, we have three major segments. They are the news update, news of the week, as well as the consumer segment. Now, starting with the news update. NCC parleys UK government towards bridging Nigeria's digital gap. Still on the news update segment, NCC warns against abuse of emergency number 112. We are poised to empower youth through tennis, says NCC. And on the news of the week segment, NCC pledges funds for academic research and innovations. While on the consumer segment, Kwara State government tasks service providers on youth development in ICT. This is the lineup of our package today, which promises to be heartwarming, so I urge you to please stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. The program is Telecom Today, where we discuss all about the telecommunications and ICT industry. Our first story is from the visit of the UK government officials to the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. At the event, UK government promised to support NCC in the quest to bridge digital divide.
The need to enhance inclusive digital access and bridging existing digital divide in Nigeria's ICT ecosystem has been reiterated by the Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Garba Dambata. The subject of digital divide, which refers to the inequality of Nigerian individuals or organizations with regards to access to ICT infrastructure or the internet within the Nigerian environment, was brought to the fore when a delegation from the United Kingdom government paid a visit to the NCC's headquarters in Abuja. These were the statistics provided by Professor Dambata while briefing the visitors on the access gaps that exist in the country's digital space, even as it dwelt on the Commission's plan of deploying rural technology solutions in closing the gaps.
At the rate we are now plugging the gaps, it will take us about 20 years, to plug all the gaps. And these gaps defraud 40 million Nigerians. The technology solutions we have deployed, in a pilot scheme can, plug the gaps in about 2 years. If we can quickly provide the funding that is needed to do this, then we can accomplish, the bridging of the gaps or plugging of the gaps in 2 years. And the rural technology solutions exist. So far, 3 have been deployed, and the result is really very, very encouraging.
Also addressing the visiting officials was the Executive Commissioner, Stakeholders Management, NCC, Mr. Sunday Dare, who touched on the Commission's efforts at improving broadband penetration in Nigeria, which he described as a critical factor in addressing access gaps in the country.
That digital mapping of the country will be critical to whatever you're going to do. Because the assumption is that to some extent the digital divide is there, the gap is there, but of course the cup is not empty. I do know that data shows that apart from South Africa, Nigeria has the second highest number of tech hubs.
Earlier in a speech, leader of the 4-man delegation and head of Digital Inclusion, United Kingdom, Ms. Alessandra Lutrati, had said the team was in NCC to have first-hand knowledge of the Commission's experience in the area of digital inclusion.
And just to commend, first of all, the amazing work that you're already doing in extending the backbone of the country and just making sure that up to at least the middle mile there is a robust network that is actually expanding more and more through the various infracodes, the work of the whole ecosystem. And we obviously, because you know this better than me, from the middle mile to the last mile, that's the critical gap for especially for the populations that, as you classified them very, very nicely at the beginning, are either underserved or completely excluded.
Another member of the delegation and head of Prosperity United Kingdom, Mr. Guy Harrison, remarked that the need to further expand the existing Nigeria-UK partnership formed the other major reason for the visit.
But I think this would be, I was just thinking actually, in my last job back in London at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, I was the India team leader, and we actually managed to set up a very effective joint working group, in this case with the Indian Ministry of Commerce, to discuss, if you like, again, a kind of joint project. It was actually, in that case, on trade, but I think, yeah, I can see how a similar sort of use of video conference, which I'm sure we can assist with in what ways, or look at setting up access here.
Telecom Today also spoke with NCC's Chief Executive Officer, where he gave the perspective on the significance of the proposed partnership with the visiting team.
We have highlighted to them our challenges on digital access. We have mentioned the digital gaps in order to help all over the country, for which we have a digital NAF, an access gap NAF, if that is required in order to ensure the intervention is directed where it is urgently needed. And you've heard what they said. They've given a commitment to assist this country to plug the access gaps, and further deliberations on that, and on the remaining two pillars of the intervention will be taking place.
It must be noted that concerted efforts are currently being made by the NCC towards reducing the existing digital divide in the country, including collaboration with the government, with other government agencies and technology-oriented organizations.
The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has warned against abuse of emergency number 112 by GSM users. This came to the fore at the 2018 Lifeline Symposium held in Abuja.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has warned against the abuse of emergency toll-free number 112, especially for those who call the number without cogent reasons. The Commission gave the warning in Abuja at the Lifeline Symposium 2018, organized by a non-governmental organization that provides emergency care for accident victims. The regulator has undertaken the task of facilitating the building and equipping emergency communication centers in 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Consequently, telecom operators are mandated to route emergency calls through the dedicated 3-digit toll-free number 112 from each state to the emergency center within that state. The Commission, through the Deputy Director Consumer Affairs Bureau, Mr. Philip Ereton, says the regulator is working tirelessly to ensure the availability of emergency toll-free line 112 to connect with people in distress and people requiring emergency assistance, that it should not be abused by members of the public.
We've heard complaints about people saying that the emergency response number 112 is not being picked up when they call. This is not completely true. If you want to try, you can try it, but we must also plead with some of our compatriots to desist from making prank calls or to that line. It is meant for something very serious, emergencies like we call it, so they should restrict it to only emergency calls.
The Assistant Director Projects NCC, Mr. M.L. Ibrahim, also spoke on the overview of emergency lines in Nigeria, the prospects and challenges.
Call 112 is a free toll line, no charges. If the distress calls is related to robbery that requires police, the call will be transferred to a response agency control, which is stationed in our center. We have fire service, we have police, we have NEMA, civil defense, and others.
The convener of the event, Dr. Nkem Moma, whose passion to help accident victims and improve responses to victims during emergency was born out of the experience he had over a decade ago when he encountered road mishaps, spoke more about the symposium and how the regulator would be of help.
NCC has been partner on Lifeline for the last 10 years, since our inception. And being stakeholders in the non-profit ecosystem, I believe we can be that voice for the Commission where that is concerned.
The NCC has initiated and built emergency centers across the state and has the 112 toll-free express line, which allows those in distress to connect with Federal Road Safety Corps, the Nigerian Police, National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA), and a host of other humanitarian agencies. The Emergency Communication Centers project is intended to bridge the communication gap between the distressed and emergency response agencies in the country. Atinuke Tokura, Telecom Today.
Thanks for being there. From our sports desk, we have the latest from the NCC tennis tournament played in some major cities, even as the sponsor says it is poised to empower the youth through the game of tennis.
The telecom regulator has said it is committed to empower more youths through its NCC Tennis League, which has entered its 4th year. During a match between Team Tech Vibes and Team Anambra at the Onitsha Sports Club in Onitsha, Anambra State, the Director of Public Affairs of NCC, Mr. Nnamdi Wokike, says the Commission is exposing more youths through the game of tennis.
But primarily the objective is to empower our youths and to expose them to the playing of tennis so that it becomes something that some of them can take up as professionals and some of them can take up as leisure.
On what this year's tennis is offering as prize, the NCC spokesman had this to say.
We are hoping that as we continue this journey that people's interest will even be greater of the forthcoming editions.
Team Tech Vibes defeated Team Anambra in Onitsha 7-love, while visiting Team Kalotari also outclassed Team Orofina of Warri 7-love. Players of both teams at the Onitsha Sports Club spoke with Telecom Today.
We like Tech Vibe now, my team. I know we work hard already, we train hard, so I believe that this year we're going to play finals.
Or next time that we're going to do better. We're going to win.
The other team of youngsters based in Abuja, Team Next Generation, lost 7-love to a ruthless Team Ofiku, which paraded Sylvester Emmanuel, Shehu Lawal, Henry Aseye, and Christy Agubom. The Zonal Controller, Kano Zonal Office, Mr. Shuaibu Swade in Abuja, spoke on the quality of players available in Abuja.
I believe that we have future superstars in the tennis world. Very soon we'll be seeing Nigerians playing in Wimbledon, playing in the Melbourne, playing as well as American Open.
Telecom Today also spoke with players at the Abuja National Stadium.
They are really trying for the players, for the Nigerian players. This NCC is helping a lot.
Yes, it has. It has done a very good thing for Nigerians.
In Ado Ekiti, Team Leadway Assurance, which has 3 national champions, Babalola Abdulmumin, Clifford Enoseregbe, and Sarah Adegoke, were equally merciless in their away match, beating Team Yetade 7-love. The NCC Tennis League is offering a total prize money of 23 million naira, with the winner clinching 7 million naira. Atinuke Tokura, Telecom Today.
NCC to partner academia, major telecom operators to foster technological innovations. Details of these and more stories when we return from this short break. Please don't go away.
Last day of the month. This alert has to come in early today.
You have a text message.
Haba, what kind of disturbance is this?
That must be a message from my darling. Unsolicited message again. This is harassment. Wow, what's this now?
Are you tired of receiving unsolicited text messages on your phones? Then take advantage of Do Not Disturb code 2442. Simply text STOP to 2442 and all unsolicited text messages will stop coming. If you want to be receiving particular types of calls and text messages instead, text HELP to 2442 and choose the option that suits you, like finance, sports, religion. Where your service provider fails to meet your request, call NCC on toll-free number 622.
Thank you, NCC.
NCC, connecting Nigeria.
Welcome to the News of the Week segment, which is from the first roundtable with academia in the northwestern part of the country, with major telecom operators and other stakeholders, which held at the Bayero University, Kano State. Top on the agenda was the decision of NCC to partner the academia to foster technological innovations.
Investment in infrastructure and innovations are crucial drivers of economic growth and development. Technological innovations is also key to finding lasting solutions to both economic and environmental challenges, such as creating new jobs, promoting efficiency, and solution-finding initiatives. To this end, the telecom regulator is partnering with the academia, including major telecom operators, internet providers, and other stakeholders in the Northeast and Northwest regions in order to promote sustainable industries and invest in scientific research and innovations to facilitate sustainable development. Referring to the academia as a key driver of innovation in all spheres of human endeavor, at the first roundtable with academia, industry and other stakeholders at the Bayero University, Kano State, the Executive Commissioner, Stakeholder Services, Engineer Ubali Maska, says collaboration between academia, industry and the telecom regulator will ensure that technologies can be properly harnessed and standards built in such a way that will contribute to economic growth and sustainability.
Hence the need for collaboration between the academia, industry and regulators to ensure these technologies can be properly harnessed and standards built in such a way that is beneficial to all stakeholders.
Engineer Maska further stated that the Commission encourages research proposals from the academia from all institutions across the Federation, which may be considered for grants if the research proposal is found worthy and will promote the development of the telecom sector.
We advertise inviting them to submit proposals for research. When they submit those proposals, we actually assemble a team of experts drawn from the universities and from the industry to evaluate those proposals. What we require is the relevance of whatever is proposed to the industry. That means if this is eventually produced, how will it help our industry? So if it is deemed, they are ranked in order of decreasing, they are ranked in order of how well they meet those criteria. And the top 3, 4, 5 of them could be taken and funded.
In a roundtable discussion, participants, which consist of heads of departments and deans from universities, industry gurus and other stakeholders, spoke on ways to foster collaboration and funding for the development of research from academia.
I actually thank NCC for coming up to discuss this thing at the right time.
For them to actually find a solution, a real solution to the problems affecting the industry, they should have a proper collaboration, and the industry should be ready as well from their own part. They should be ready to supply the researcher with the necessary information.
I believe Nigeria there is abundance funds for such projects to be gotten from. But a lot of times you find that you don't know where the funding is coming from or where they are and how to access them. So I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube on people that are bringing up their own ideas and technologies put it together and requiring funding. Probably we could start with that. The universities can also start with that, or rather the institutions.
There were also submissions from some of the academia in contribution to the roundtable discussion.
In the quest to bridge that gap, there is need for periodic course content and curriculum development. There is no two ways to that because of our ever-changing and technological advancement.
Industry can always develop challenges internally, invite members of the academia in certain fields, and then throw these challenges at them, asking them to come with proposals that are fundable. And in the same forum, they can also give them the trends they are envisaging, so that as they throw they inform of the trend they are envisaging and the challenge that they have at hand, they can also those challenges to the academia from where proposals will be brought up, and then those kind of proposals that meet their need can be funded.
With over half of the world's population now driven by technology and the Internet of Things, technological innovations are becoming more and more important to the growth of new industries and information and communication technologies. It is expected that with the convergence of academia, the industry and other stakeholders with the telecom regulator will pave way for more innovations, industry growth and sustainability. Recall that the Nigerian Communications Commission presented research grants worth over 50 million naira to the winners of the 2016 and 2017 research proposals from 9 universities for the development of the telecommunications industry.
On the consumer segment, the Kwara state government has tasked service providers on the need to build the capacity of youths in ICT. The State's Commissioner for Information, Isiaq Mohammed Sabi, stated this at the 99th edition of the Consumer Outreach Program, which held in Ilorin, the Kwara state capital.
Service providers operating in Kwara State, North Central Nigeria, have been urged to be proactive in the training of youths in the field of information and communication technology as part of their corporate social responsibility. The State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Mr. Isiaq Mohammed Sabi, made the advocacy at the 99th edition of the Nigerian Communications Commission organized Consumer Outreach Program, which held in Ilorin, the state capital.
We want to commend the National Communications Commission for deciding to state this 99th edition of its Consumer Outreach Program here in Kwara State. The state government, as it were, has created an enabling environment for all service providers to establish, not only to establish, but to flourish.
Another participant at the forum, Mrs. Suleiman Zainab, told the line of the commissioner as she demanded that service providers extend their corporate goodwill beyond the youths to include the encouragement of adult education in the state.
This kind of initiative is a very good initiative because it enlightens people and makes us see the things that we have been blind to. But I think they should do more of this kind of things, especially network providers for adults, like adult education, because I've not encountered such before. It's not everybody that's literate here. We have older people at home that also make use of mobile phones. By doing this, you can also enlighten them more, and they can see the advantages of using certain things.
Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Sulu Ibrahim Gambari, represented by Dan Madami of Ilorin, Alhaji Shehu Garfa, equally stressed the need for increased deployment of ICT, especially in the sensitization of citizens in this area of electioneering in the country.
Impactful as ICT is for consumer empowerment and protection, there seems to be an urgent need for stakeholders to take a second look at the danger that the misuse of our information airwaves pose to our communities.
The event, which had as its theme using information and education as tools for consumer empowerment and protection, was put together to enable a tripartite meeting of the telecom regulator, operators and the consumers with the view to protecting consumers from market exploitation by some service providers.
If a consumer lodges a complaint to the NCC that an MNO, mobile network operator, sent an unsolicited text message to him or her, and we got this report from the consumer about this, then we will do two things. We ensure the credit deducted from the consumer for this unsolicited service, that credit is returned to the consumer, and we also invoke provision of the fine. We fine the MNO the sum of 5 million naira. This is to ensure total compliance.
And with this piece of information, this is where we want to call it a day on today's outing on Telecom Today. But not to worry, the program will be back same time next week for another exciting moment. Please remember to send us your feedback and comments through the NCC website, Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Remember that you can always call our toll-free customer care line 622 for any service complaint. I am Eunice Johnson, saluting you for your invaluable company. Bye for now.